Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. What would you do if you discovered that the children you had devoted nearly 2 decades to raising weren't actually yours? What if your wife admitted she had deliberately conceived them with your best friend? And what if your own daughter accused you of being selfish just for wanting a divorce? I'm about to share exactly what I did, and I don't regret a single choice. Hi everyone, welcome back. Today, I have a story that's both shocking and personal. So, let's get started. My name is Jerry. My wife, Heather, and I had been together for almost 20 years. We dated for several years before tying the knot, and during that time, I was certain she was a person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. She was lively, fun, and shared many of my interests. After we got married, we settled into life as a couple and started trying to have children. But after a whole year of effort, nothing happened. Month after month, the pregnancy tests were negative, and worry began creeping in. We decided to see specialists and went to a fertility clinic, undergoing a series of tests. The results came back normal. My sperm count was fine, and Heather's reproductive health was perfect. There was no medical explanation for our inability to conceive. The doctor told us sometimes conception just takes time and recommended lifestyle changes. Track ovulation carefully, reduce stress, improve our diets, and time intimacy more strategically. We followed every instruction meticulously. Heather tracked her cycles, we ate better, and we tried to stay stress-free. Yet, another year passed with nothing. Each month ended in disappointment, and the emotional strain began to weigh heavily on us both. I was losing hope and wondering if we were simply not meant to have children. Then, just as I was about to give up, Heather got pregnant. One morning, she came running to me, tears streaming down her face, holding a positive test. After 2 long years of frustration, heartbreak, and endless hope, we were finally going to have a child. 9 months later, our first son, Justin, was born. I was overjoyed. I silently vowed to him that I would be the best father possible, to give him opportunities one never had, and to always be there for him. I kept that promise for the next few years. 3 years later, our daughter Anna was born. The bond one shared with Anna was unique. It was deeper than what I had with Justin. She was my little girl, my constant companion, my shadow. From the moment she could walk, she followed me everywhere. As she grew, that connection only strengthened. I made sure she knew she could always count on me. The first time someone hinted that Justin didn't resemble me, I dismissed it. It was at a family barbecue when he was about 12. One of my uncles, after a few beers, said, "Funny, the boy doesn't really look like you, does he?" Everyone laughed, including me. I joked that he must have inherited all of Heather's features, and that was the end of it. But over time, the comments didn't stop. Multiple people, in different settings, began making similar remarks. By the time Justin was 18, these questions were no longer subtle. At a neighborhood cookout, a neighbor bluntly asked, "Are you sure he's yours?" While everyone laughed, I forced a smile and changed the topic. Slowly, doubts started to gnaw at me. I scrutinized Justin's features, comparing them to my own. He had Heather's dark hair, sharp cheekbones, and narrow nose. I could see none of my eyes, jawline, or build reflected in him. I kept telling myself it was normal. Genetics are tricky after all, but the seed of doubt had been planted. The tipping point came one evening while having drinks with friends. One friend casually said, "You know, Jerry, Justin looks more like Joe than you." The room fell silent. Joe, my best friend and godfather to my kids, chuckled nervously, but I couldn't ignore it. As I thought about it, the resemblance was undeniable. Justin's features mirrored Joe's. My stomach sank. I went home that night, unable to sleep. I replayed memories, like Heather insisting Joe be Justin's godfather when I suggested my brother. All the small things I had never questioned suddenly felt significant. By the weekend, I could no longer dismiss it. I had to know the truth. I ordered a paternity test online, secretly. When Justin came home from college for the weekend, I collected a DNA sample from a water bottle he had used. I sent it off on my own and waited. Those 2 weeks were agonizing. When the result arrived, the email confirmed my worst fear. 0% probability of paternity. Justin was not my biological son. My heart sank. My mind raced. Everything I believed about my life, my marriage, and my family was a lie. Rage and betrayal consumed me. Heather had deceived me, letting me raise another man's child while I provided and sacrificed for him. And then, horrifyingly, I realized, what about Anna? I couldn't be sure she was mine either. I ordered another test immediately. I couldn't confront Heather yet. Waiting for the kit to arrive, I knew I couldn't pretend. That evening, I walked straight into the kitchen where she was preparing dinner and said, "I know." Her expression turned from casual to confused. "No, what?" she asked. I told her I had confirmed through paternity testing that Justin wasn't mine and demanded the truth. She tried to deny it, saying the test must be wrong. I cut her off. I told her the lies had to stop, that I was filing for divorce, and that she had one chance to confess. Finally, Heather broke down. She admitted everything. She told me that since I couldn't conceive, my best friend had offered to be a father, and she intentionally got pregnant by him both times. She revealed that Justin and Anna were Joe's children. And then she threatened me, insisting I couldn't leave or that the law would force me to remain financially responsible. I was speechless, consumed by anger and betrayal. I couldn't sleep in the same room, so I stayed in the guest room. The next morning, I called a family law attorney, explaining everything. He told me I had options. DNA testing could be officially recognized, and my name could be removed from the birth certificates. I initiated divorce proceedings immediately. Heather fought me every step of the way, demanding alimony, child support, half our assets, and painting me as the villain abandoning our family. Her lawyer presented me as a cruel father leaving innocent children, while I seethed internally knowing the truth. The situation worsened when Anna, my daughter, sided with her mother. She came downstairs during an argument, declaring, "You're selfish. You're tearing this family apart." Her words broke me. This was my little girl, my shadow, my companion, defending her mother's lies. Yet I stayed silent, understanding her perspective as a teenager, even if it didn't lessen the sting. I had initially planned to provide for the kids, no matter what, but her words changed my mind. I removed Anna from my will, ceased contributions to her college fund, and began exploring legal action against Joe for his role in the deception. He had allowed me to raise his children while enjoying every milestone, knowing the truth. In court, I demanded DNA testing be entered into the record. The test confirmed what I already knew. Justin and Anna were Joe's biological children. I petitioned to remove my name from the birth certificates, arguing that I had been deceived. The judge agreed. Legally, I was no longer their father. I then exposed the affair of both families in our social circle, presenting paternity tests and court documents. Heather's parents were initially incredulous, but the evidence left them horrified. Heather's father confronted her directly, and her mother cried. Friends and neighbors learned the truth as well. Joe initially denied it, but eventually disappeared from our lives. The divorce took 1 year and 8 months. It was exhausting, emotionally draining, and complicated. We battled over assets, alimony, and every detail accumulated over 20 years. Heather fought fiercely, but the court ruled largely in my favor. I kept my retirement accounts and was not required to pay child support, as my name had been removed from the birth certificates. Afterward, I moved to a new apartment, immersed myself in work, and focused on rebuilding my life. Months passed without contact from Heather, Justin, or Anna. I had made peace with my decision, knowing that walking away was the right thing. 6 months later, Anna reached out. Her message explained how life had become difficult since the divorce. Heather struggled financially, and Joe wasn't providing as I had. She expressed regret for siding with her mother, realizing the betrayal I had endured, and asked if we could rebuild a relationship. I felt conflicted. Part of me sympathized with her. She had been a child caught in the middle. But the other part, the part hurt, betrayed, and exhausted, knew engaging would be a mistake. After months of reflection, I chose not to respond. I blocked her number, determined to maintain the boundaries I had established. This story doesn't have a happy ending. There's no neat reconciliation, but it is the truth. I learned that even the people you trust most, your spouse, your best friend, your own children, can hurt you in unimaginable ways. And when betrayal strikes us deeply, sometimes the only option is to protect yourself and walk away. Some wounds don't heal, some betrayals can't be forgiven, and some relationships, no matter how much you love them, are better left behind.